Woodworking tools keep changing, and every year we see ideas that promise better accuracy, less setup, and more control. Some tools quietly improve how we work, while others completely change the rhythm of the shop. Today we're walking through 20 Kreg tools that feel purpose-built for real woodworking tasks. They focus on precision, repeatability, and everyday convenience. Let's see how they are used, what makes them different, and which type of woodworker benefits the most from each one. Drilling straight, accurate holes by hand is one of those skills that sounds simple until the bit starts to wander. This is where the Drill Guide Pro quietly earns its place on the bench. You use your regular drill, but this guide adds control that feels closer to a small drill press. Angle adjustment locks anywhere from -45 degrees to 45 degrees, so angled holes stop feeling risky. The built-in depth stop helps you repeat the same hole depth again and again, which saves time when the project needs consistency. Underneath the grip, max feet hold tight on slick plywood or rough lumber. That grip matters once pressure increases. There's also a V-groove in the base, which keeps round stock from rolling away. For narrow boards, the centering guide helps place holes right in the middle without measuring each time. It works with most drills that use a 3/8-inch chuck. For anyone who wants drill press accuracy without the drill press price tag, this tool delivers. Installing cabinet hardware looks easy. That is exactly where the Cabinet Hardware Jig Pro XL fits into your workflow. This jig focuses on repeatability. Once you set the stops, every pull lands in the same position without rechecking measurements. It supports center-to-center spacing up to 38 inches, which helps a lot with wide drawers and long handles. Dual contact points keep it square against the surface, and that adds confidence when drilling into finished panels. The drill guides slide along the bar, so 3-hole handles are not an issue. You can flip it easily for left to right swing doors, which keeps things moving. The aluminum body feels solid, yet it does not feel bulky in hand. For smaller knobs, you can remove extra sections. If consistent hardware placement is the goal, this jig removes the guesswork entirely. The quality of your cuts often comes down to the blade, not just the saw doing the cutting. You notice that pretty quickly with the SureCut 4.5-inch finishing blade once it goes on your compact circular saw. This blade uses 36 carbide teeth, which favors clean edges over aggressive cutting. Plywood edges look smoother, and hardwood cuts feel more controlled. The anti-stick coating helps reduce heat, which lowers the chance of burn marks on softer woods. There are relief cuts in the blade body, and that reduces vibration during longer passes. It fits saws with a 3/8-inch arbor, both corded and cordless. The thin kerf at 1.25 millimeters helps smaller saw motors maintain speed without strain. Rated for up to 5,000 RPM, it matches most tools in this size range. For a modest investment, it's one of the simplest ways to immediately notice better results from a saw you already own. Pocket hole joinery is fast and reliable, but the traditional jig and drill setup still demands more steps than some projects really need. The Pocket Hole Joiner Kit approaches the process in a much more direct way. Everything lives in one handheld tool powered by a 20-volt brushless motor. You drill the pocket hole in one smooth motion, without clamping in most cases. Material thickness adjusts from 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches without tools, and depth settings change just as easily. Grip Max surfaces and support feet help keep narrow boards stable, which helps with face frames and rails. Dust collection is built in using either the chip bag or a 1.25-inch vacuum port. The aluminum body feels rugged, and the folding handle helps with storage and transport. It includes a 4Ah battery and charger. For high-volume pocket hole work where every minute of setup time adds up, this tool makes a strong case for itself. Tackling large sheet goods without a table saw is a challenge that many shop setups face on a regular basis. That is where the Adaptive Cutting System Master Kit feels like a complete solution rather than a single tool. You get a plunge cut track saw, a 62-inch guide track, and a dedicated project table. The saw uses a 6.5-inch blade with 40 carbide teeth and a thin 1.6 millimeter kerf. Cut depth reaches 2 1/8 inches at 90 degrees and 1/2 inch at 45 degrees. Safety features include a riving knife, blade brake, and anti-kickback control. The blade left design improves visibility for right-handed users. The project table adds guides and stops, which helps with repeatable cuts and panel control. For anyone working in a compact space who needs accurate panel breaking without a dedicated table saw, this kit covers a lot of ground. Making long, straight cuts with a circular saw without any guidance is one of the fastest ways to ruin a good piece of plywood. That is where the rip cut starts to feel genuinely useful in your setup. It turns your standard circular saw into an edge-guided cutting tool. You set the width once, lock it in, and then every cut follows that same line. The capacity goes up to 24 inches, which covers most plywood rip cuts and cross cuts you handle in the shop. The universal sled accepts most left blade and right blade circular saws, along with worm drive saws and even jigsaws. That flexibility means you likely already own a compatible tool. The oversized edge guide rides smoothly along the workpiece edge, which helps keep pressure consistent from start to finish. There's a built-in measuring scale with a lens cursor, so dialing in exact widths feels straightforward. Built from aluminum and impact-resistant polymer, it holds alignment well. For under $50, it is hard to find a more practical upgrade for your circular saw workflow. Dowel joints offer real strength and a clean look, but getting both holes to align perfectly is where things tend to go wrong. That is where the Dowel Jig Kit focuses its attention. This jig gives you several alignment options, including reference lines, alignment pins, and dowel grooves. That flexibility helps match the setup to the project instead of forcing one method every time. The hardened steel drill guides help keep holes straight even after repeated use. You get removable drill guide blocks in 1/4 and 3/8 inch, with a 1/2 inch option available if you expand later. There's also onboard measuring and a stop collar system, which helps repeat drilling depth without constant checking. It clamps securely using trigger-style clamps, which add stability during drilling. The body is impact-resistant polymer, so it feels durable without being heavy. Anyone who wants tight, accurate dowel joints without complicated setup will find this jig genuinely useful. The Oscillating multi-tool fits right into that role. It runs on a 20-volt brushless motor, which gives consistent power and longer runtime. Speed adjusts across 6 settings, ranging from 7,000 to 17,000 OPM, so you can slow things down for control or speed up for tougher materials. Blade changes are tool-free with a lever release, and it uses standard T-shank blades. Dust management includes a blower and vacuum port compatibility, which keeps the cut line visible. Dual LED lights help with accuracy. Bevel adjustments run from 0 degrees to 45 degrees. If curved cuts and interior shapes are a regular part of your work, the control this grip style provides is hard to go back from. Light routing jobs reward patience and precision, and having a tool that feels balanced and easy to see makes both much more achievable. Edge profiles, dados, and light joinery benefit from control and visibility. That is where the trim router fits naturally. It uses a 20-volt brushless motor with variable speed from 10,000 to 30,000 RPM. That range helps match the speed to the bit and material. The rack and pinion depth adjustment allows fine-tuning, which makes small changes feel predictable. Dual LED lights and a clear base plate keep the bit visible during use. The soft start motor reduces sudden movement at startup, which adds confidence. Dust collection is built in through a 1 1/4 inch port, helping keep the work area cleaner. It accepts both a 1/4 inch and 6 mm collets and supports bits up to 1 3/8 inches in diameter. The compact body with rubberized grip feels comfortable during longer passes. For precise decorative edges and joinery details without the bulk of a full-sized router, this tool handles the job cleanly. Sometimes the right cut is not about power, but about fitting the tool into a space where a larger saw simply cannot go. Tight spaces and detail cuts demand something more compact. That is where the mini circular saw feels right at home. It uses a 4.5 inch blade and still delivers solid cutting performance thanks to its 20-volt brushless motor. Cut depth reaches 1 11/16 inches at 90 degrees and 1 11/16 inch at 45 degrees, which covers trim, plywood, and light framing tasks. The included 36-tooth SureCut blade favors smooth finishes, especially on plywood edges. An auxiliary handle adds control during precision cuts, which helps when working close to finished surfaces. Soft start reduces sudden movement, and the electronic brake improves safety. The all-metal base plate adds durability. Dust collection runs through a 1 1/4-inch port. For trim work, small panels, and anywhere maneuverability matters more than cutting depth, this saw handles the job confidently. Working inside cabinets, along walls, or in any cramped space quickly reveals how much tool size affects what you can actually get done. Power still counts, but control matters just as much. The compact impact driver balances both well. This compact driver measures just 4.4 inches in length, yet it delivers up to 2,200 inch-pounds of torque. The 20-volt brushless motor provides steady output across 3 speed settings. Assist mode helps prevent overdriving screws and softer materials like plywood, which protects the surface. Reverse assist mode pulses before backing screws out, which reduces stripping and improves control during removal. The 1/4-inch all-metal hex collet holds bits securely, and changes feel quick and positive. An integrated LED light helps in dark corners and cabinets. The metal housing adds durability without extra bulk. For cabinetry and assembly work where reach is limited but accuracy still matters, this driver earns its spot in the bag. A clogged vacuum filter drags down suction, shortens tool life, and turns cleanup into a chore that takes longer than it should. Keeping filters clean saves time and money. That is where the dust separator becomes surprisingly valuable. It captures up to 99.9% of dust and debris before it reaches your vacuum. That can extend filter life by up to 10 times, which reduces maintenance. It fits most standard 5-gallon buckets, so setup stays simple. Filter max fins help trap fine dust while maintaining suction. The swivel top rotates up to 90 degrees, which reduces hose tension and tipping. A transparent lid lets you monitor fill level and airflow without opening the bucket. It works well with shop vacs and dust ports across multiple tools. For any shop where dust control affects both comfort and tool performance, this separator quietly pays for itself over time. Getting a smooth, consistent surface before finishing is one of the steps that separates a good result from a great one, and the right sander makes that step much less tedious. Control and comfort matter more than raw speed here. That is where the 20-volt 5-inch random orbit sander starts to feel like a solid everyday tool. You get variable speed control from 6,000 to 12,000 OPM, which helps match the sanding action to the material. Slower speeds feel better for fine finishing, while higher speeds help with stock removal. The 3 32" orbit strikes a nice balance between smooth results and efficiency. The grip feels comfortable during longer sessions, and the anti-vibration design helps reduce hand fatigue. Dust collection works through the included bag or a vacuum connection, and the sealed pad improves suction right at the surface. It uses standard 5-inch hook and loop discs, so supplies stay simple. This kit includes a 2.0 Ah battery, which keeps it lightweight in hand. For anyone who sands frequently and wants consistent results without wearing out their hands, this sander is a dependable choice. That is where the Mortise Mate loose tenon jig offers a more approachable method. You use a standard drill to create clean mortises, which keeps the process familiar. The jig supports material thickness from 3/4 to 1 1/2 inch, covering common furniture parts. What really helps is the auto-indexing step-down system, which lowers the cutter by 1/16 inch with each pass. That feature keeps depth consistent without constant adjustment. Micro-adjustment screws help fine-tune mortise width, and the included 6mm carbide cutter produces clean results. There's also a built-in work surface, which helps keep clamping secure. For woodworkers who want strong, hidden joinery without investing in a dedicated loose tenon machine, this jig offers a practical and affordable path. Wall installs go sideways fast when you cannot confidently locate where the studs actually are behind the drywall. Physical confirmation still feels more trustworthy. That idea sits at the core of the LaserMark Magnetic Stud Finder. It uses rare earth magnets to locate screws or nails behind drywall, so results feel direct rather than guessed. Once attached, the tool stays on the wall hands-free, which helps when marking or measuring. The built-in laser projects a vertical line showing the stud path clearly. A bubble level keeps the laser straight, which helps with cabinet or shelf installs. Marking notches allow you to mark positions without removing the tool, reducing wall damage. The compact size makes it easy to keep in a pouch or drawer. For anyone mounting cabinets, shelves, or hardware directly to walls, this tool brings confidence to a step that usually causes hesitation. Thin stock and small-scaled assemblies need a joinery method that fits the material without overpowering it. Drawer boxes, small frames, and lightweight assemblies need a cleaner approach. That is where the Pocket Hole Jig Micro fits in. This jig creates pocket holes that are 33% smaller than standard ones, which keeps fasteners discreet on thin material. It supports 1/2" and 3/4" stock, covering many small-scale builds. The included 19/64" micro drill bit pairs cleanly with the hardened steel guides. The twist-apart design lets you adjust spacing between holes, which adds flexibility for narrow parts. Grip max surfaces help keep the jig steady without slipping during drilling. The body uses impact-resistant polymer, so it holds up to frequent use. For fine woodworking projects where a standard pocket hole would look and feel oversized, this jig gives you exactly the right solution at a price that makes it easy to justify. Rounded and chamfered corners add a finished, professional quality to tabletops and shelves that freehand routing rarely delivers with consistency. Templates often solve that problem. That is where the Corner Routing Guide set comes into play. This set includes guides for multiple radius sizes from 1/4 inch up to 2 inches, along with chamfer options at 1/2, 1, and 2 inches. You attach it to your router, and the guide controls the shape, keeping corners uniform across parts. The large handle improves control, and the grip max surface helps keep the guide from shifting during the cut. Adjustable edge stops help position the guide accurately on different stock sizes. Swapping profiles does not require tools, which keeps the workflow smooth. It works well for tabletops, shelves, and decorative edges. The set stores in a protective case, which helps keep everything organized. For woodworkers who want repeatable, polished corner profiles without the frustration of freehand routing, this guide set makes the process feel straightforward every time. That was all about 20 Kreg tools you must see. Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching our video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends if you found our video helpful. Subscribe to our channel to get more videos like this.